Welcome to Law Talk Today, a series devoted to bringing you informative and educational programs focused on issues of law, government, and community.
Good evening and welcome to LawTalkToday.tv. My name is Mark Gruber and I'm your host. This is a weekly show, and every week we talk to people involved in the law and different legal topics. The topics are never ending. One week we might be talking to a battered woman, the next week a police officer demonstrating the breathalyzer machine, or judges. Tonight's show we're going to be talking to two law clerks, judicial law clerks, and so that's what the show's about. And for those parents that are out there who are sending your kids to law school and think about future jobs, this is a good show. And for any young people out there that are thinking about going to law school or who are in law school and are thinking about a judicial clerkship, this show, I hope, will be very interesting. In fact, I know it's going to be very interesting because I happen to know the two law clerks on the show tonight. They're from Morris and Sussex counties. I want to welcome Jane, Adele, Regina. Welcome, Jane.
Thank you.
The person with three first names, if you ask me. And then Lena Encarnacion. Lena, welcome.
Thank you.
Lena is from Morris County and works for Judge Ramsey in the family part. And Jane works in Sussex County for Judge McGovern in the family part as well. Right?
That's right.
Good. Now, Jane, let's start with you. How did you, number one, where'd you go to school? What made you become a lawyer? And what made you apply for a judicial clerkship?
Well, I was actually out of school about 10 years before I returned to law school, and I was working in the publishing industry, and I just felt like I wanted to do something else. I needed a change. So I thought about law school and applied and just went almost on a whim. And I attended Seton Hall Law School, graduated in May 2008, and a lot of my friends were going to work for law firms, but we had always heard about the opportunity to become a judicial law clerk, and it's a one-year position. So I liked the idea that I wasn't accepting a permanent position. It was more like a one-on-one internship with a judge where I would get to experience the courtroom behind the scenes. So I applied to a clerkship with Judge McGovern, and I was accepted, and
here you are.
Here I am.
Now, did you know any lawyers before you went to law school? Did you know what you were in for?
Not at all. My family never had an attorney. I had some friends who attended law school. I didn't really deal with any lawyers in my publishing career. I just thought that it would be an amazing opportunity and afford me the opportunities to learn about the law and to challenge myself in a way that I wasn't.
No, I think that's a great thing to do, because those young lawyers who go out into the job market and get a job at a law firm right away, they rarely get inside the courtroom, because number one, there's just too many cases for, and not enough judges. So their initial experience as a young attorney is in the back room, in the library,
right.
On the 44th floor in a big complex, and very far removed from the courtroom. So that's pretty good. Lena, how about you? Tell us about your background.
Well, I went to Rutgers undergrad. I also went to Rutgers Newark for law school. What made me go to law school, during undergrad, I knew I wanted to do something big. I came from a low-income family, and I was thinking either be a doctor or a lawyer. So I thought, let me be a big corporate lawyer and earn lots of money, which is not what ended up happening.
It still can.
No, it won't happen. But I mean, because when I went to law school, I was going towards transactional law. Somewhere in between, I decided it wasn't for me. I wanted to advocate for parties, and I decided to go into family law. I did the child advocacy clinic at law school, and I realized that what I really wanted to do was family law, which led me to doing the clerkship and working for a family judge. I thought it was a great experience because it helped me watch oral argument, meet family law attorneys, and see what the motion practice is like. So,
what was the advocacy program about in your law school?
Well, what we did in the child advocacy was a little different. It's more has to do with children in court because we represented DIFAS cases, children that were in DIFAS as law guardians in court. So I actually got to appear in front of judges, got to appear in front of Judge Grant a lot of times, just representing kids that were in DIFAS and just advocating for what their needs were. So we were like the DIFAS children's attorneys.
And did you know any attorneys before you went to law school?
No, I didn't know any.
Now, I'm going to admit something to the two of you that you don't know. I was exactly in the same place that you were, except I won't tell you how many years ago. And I didn't know, I mean, I was in college. I didn't know what exactly I was going to do when I grew up, so to speak.
Yeah.
And although I always thought I was going to do something, make something of myself, never knew a lawyer. One morning I woke up and I said, I want to be a lawyer. And applied to law school, went to law school. And I went to law school in Vermont. And I became I was a judicial law clerk in Rutland, Vermont. So I have a little bit of background as a law clerk. Of course, up there it was a lot different. Let me ask you, this is an offbeat question, and that is, when I was a law clerk up there, it was very informal. Of course, that was umpteen years ago, and it was Rutland, Vermont. And once in a while, the attorneys would come in with like cross-country ski boots on.
Wow.
You don't see that in Mars or Sussex County, I gather, no?
Well, the judges are actually very active. My judge likes to bicycle, and so I think Sussex is very conducive to having more active community. So there is an informality to it, which I love because I don't know that you'd get that in any other county.
Okay, now, Lena, you work for Judge Ramsey in Morris County, and she is a family court judge. What are your assignments? Tell everybody out there, what do you do in a given week?
Sure. The majority of my job consists of working on motions. These are motions that people file when they either want to modify their child support obligation, establish a child support obligation, or they have to do with custody, parenting time, and issues like that. So my job as a law clerk is to go through the motion, give the judge kind of a memorandum, which I usually give my judge a proposed order and a proposed statement of reasons for her to work off of. And we get a lot of motions filed, so that's pretty much the majority of my job. I also work on the phone with attorneys and litigants, answering their questions, procedural questions, doing adjournment requests. You know, we're almost like a legal secretary for the judge.
We're going to go into that a little in more detail in just a moment. So you do motions. And again, motions are applications that people send into the court in writing.
Yes.
Both sides send in paperwork, and you have to work it up for the judge.
Sort it out for the judge.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's stay on the motions first.
Okay.
Do you do legal research for the motions?
Yes.
All right, and describe what that's about.
I mean, sometimes we get issues that, you know, we get a lot of issues where the law is basically the same. Modification of support, we know what the legal standard is for that. But sometimes we get issues where we do have to do some research, such as palimony cases and stuff like that. So I use legal sites such as Lexis and Westlaw and do legal research for the judge and just let her know this is what the legal standard is. This is what the case law says, and this is what my recommendation would be for that case.
Did you do legal research on that palimony case I had with your judge?
Probably.
I can't mention any names. All right. And Jane, let's go over to you. I know motions, same thing with you, right?
Very similar. We handle parties that are divorcing in the process of getting divorced, so a lot of times I will actually research where the parties work, and it goes outside the bounds of legal research. Sometimes I'm just getting background about the parties themselves, just to inform the judge a little bit more about, you know, who's in front of him.
Oh, I never knew that. That's a top secret thing. So you're on the internet looking up the company that somebody works for and
possibly
whatever. I mean, I think
all
that's
out
good.
there. So it's
Yeah, I guess that's fair game. And how many motions in a week or 2-week period do you actually handle?
Well, my judge works on 3 separate dockets, so we constantly have motions every Friday.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so other family clerks may only handle motions every other Friday, not necessarily the same volume. Typically, I'm probably summarizing 7 to 10 motions a week, so there's a constant schedule and calendar that I need to keep track of and make sure that I have everything prepared in advance.